Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. We discuss 6 questions in 9 minutes because leaders know how to be concise. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. First question, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Hello, Rafal Los, and I am at the moment trying to survive COVID, but I am a podcaster. I run the Down to Security Rabbit Hole podcast since 2011, which can be found on iTunes and virtually everywhere else. I'm an industry writer, a couple of blogs on my Medium and on Security Week and some other places. For a job, I'm currently responsible for security strategy at a company called Lightstream. We're a top-tier managed networking cloud services and now security services via yours truly provider based out of Salt Lake City. And I'm part of the Security Advisor Alliance board, try to work for the greater good. And in my spare time, I adventure.
Great. Glad to hear that you adventure in the spare time. Good for you.
You got to do something to keep saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially in the current conditions. Question number 2. What's the best thing about working with a team?
I think the best thing about working with a team is a diversity of opinion, which strengthens kind of direction. Entirely too much groupthink that kind of doesn't question the direction somebody suggests. So if you're working with a strong team of independent thinkers that value each other's differences and opinions and are willing to hear dissent and discuss, the outcomes can be absolutely amazing.
I completely agree. That's a great comment. Question number 3, I hear from other leaders of teams that it can be a challenge to get team members engaged. Tell me your thoughts.
Team engagement can be tough if you're actually a poor leader. I think that's one of the hallmarks of poor leadership. Your people can't be pushed. You can't tell them to run. You can't just let them run feral either. So it's a difficult balance, I think, over time that good leaders learn. And I believe that best leaders not only get engagement, but they drive excitement and enjoyment in work. And you can't, like I said, you can't force your team engaged to be engaged. And if you can't, maybe it's you. It's probably you.
Yeah, it more than likely is. You're absolutely right. Question number 4, what other piece of advice do you have for leaders of teams?
I think the thing that I would give as some advice over my years is never be the leader that doesn't listen and thinks their opinion is gospel. You're probably wrong at least half the time. And the minute you start believing that leadership is about getting people to do the your way or the highway thing, you've absolutely failed. I've worked for great leaders that pushed the boundaries of what I thought was logical, reasonable, and even safe. And it turned out great, right? I've worked for leaders that simply wanted to dictate and want you to do what they do or what they say. And also I think the important thing here is from a direction standpoint is you gotta walk the walk and talk the talk. You can't just do as I say, not as I do. So yeah, I think that's some advice that I think is universal for leadership.
That's great advice. Thank you for sharing that. Question number 5, what other successful leaders of teams, such as yourself, would you like to recognize that have had a positive influence in your life?
All right. So I've got 4 people that I think I'd probably work with anytime, anywhere. One of my first bosses, Tanya Neild, taught me early on in my career a lot of things that you'll see in my personality at work today. How to detect BS, how to lead a team quickly, how to be concise, how to just get things done without the drama. One of my best friends, Jim Tiller, one of the most amazing leaders, guy's humble, the guy's hardworking, and you've probably got at least 3 of his books on your bookshelf if you've ever read anything. And you'll never hear his name because he's not out there self-aggrandizing, which is, unfortunately in today's climate that doesn't serve well, but fantastic human. A guy named Paul Muller down in Australia, down in Oz. Paul kicked my butt every single day to be better at stuff that I thought I was actually already good at. So yeah, Paul has unquestionably had my back. And even when I did some things that were just on the other side of the sane line. A guy named Stephen Thomas helped me out recently. One of those guys that basically said, hey, just get to it. You screw up, I'll help you fix it. If you do well, we'll recognize it and let's just get going. And then it's not a single person, but I'll tell you the entire executive leadership team at this company that I work with, Lightstream, Jeff, Rod, Jim, awesome human beings. And if you want a good example of what an executive leadership team actually looks like that works, you don't have to look too much further than the team I'm a part of right now. It's really awesome.
That's impressive. It's a good list, and thank you for recognizing those individuals. Sixth question, tell us about your first job.
I washed dishes at Pizza Hut. If you ever, I'm pretty sure Mike Rowe did Dirty Jobs on this, because back in the late 90s, I'm dating myself. I worked my butt off. I smelled awful coming home. I was covered in oil and dirt, and there's nothing quite as as there's nothing that'll teach you humility quite as cleaning out the dirt trap in a commercial dishwasher after a weekend. That is a lovely job. I think everybody should have at least once to understand what it's like to work. But it paid terribly. The hours were nuts. I never got to do anything exciting, but it taught me the value of hard work and really how to appreciate everybody, because even though I'm in an executive chair right now, boy, I still do recall what it's like to make minimum wage and work your tail off.
Great lessons learned from those first jobs, aren't there?
Absolutely.
Well,
I think those are the most important.
Let's say that again.
I think those are the most important.
They really are.
That's like that first job or two that really gives you that kind of slap in the face. Welcome to real life, where money isn't handed to you via an allowance.
Yeah.
And there are no trophies for participation.
That's exactly right. I completely agree. This is one of my favorite questions in the podcast, because there are some really valuable lessons that people share from those very first jobs. So Thank you for sharing those. And Raffel, thank you for being on the podcast today. How can people find you?
I'm pretty easy to find. WH1T3RABBIT on Twitter. You can look at the podcast on iTunes, down the Security Rabbit Hole. I am on LinkedIn with my name. Carrier Pigeon, Smoke Signal, IP over Carrier Pigeon works, whatever. I'm easy to find.
Very good. This is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. And for more ideas, you can find us on LinkedIn by searching Blue Sky Business Consulting. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.